So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I want to do and how I want to organize myself this year. It's the beginning of the year. It's January 2026. And I have so many fun ideas ready to get started with, but I got to get organized first. So I'm not going to have you go with me and figure out how to organize all of this. I already know what I'm doing there. I already have an idea of what I'm doing. And I think I did a video a long time ago about, what I needed to do. But of course, with things that happened at the end of the year last year, I put everything on hold. And so now that I'm able to, I have decided that this place has got to have an overhaul. And I'll do that. I'm not going to do that in front of you guys because this is just it. I'd have to get grubby and all of that. Not saying that I'm all that perfect right now, but I'd have to get on a pair of jeans and a pair of working boots and my hands and getting them dirty and all of that and moving things around and getting rid of some things and figuring out what I wanted to do for 2026. I'm going to build my business up again. I had to kind of put it all on hold. Doing a lot of soul searching since Christmas. I took that week off after Christmas and I thought, well, let me get some ideas about how I wanted to do my new year. I decided that I wanted to start some new projects this year, and I got to looking around in my room in my area here, and I've got a lot of quilt blocks that I have been, I guess, hoarding for the last I don't know how long. And I got to thinking that if I can't be the only one that's got this many blocks or that many blocks that I don't have any idea what I'm going to do with. So I thought I would, I think I've got to move this up just a little bit. There you go. So I wanted to show you what I have, and I want you to start thinking about what you have and look at the ideas that I've come up with to be able to make things with orphan blocks. I know that's what they call them online. I looked it up the other day and I was thinking, okay, so what do they call, blocks that you just don't finish, and they call them orphan blocks. So I wanted to show you what I have. I've got two different things that I was doing. The first part, let me show you this one first. The first one is when I first started quilting. And I'm one of these people who thinks, okay, well, I can go learn this on my own. So I went into Craftsy and I looked to see if they had any free quilting classes. I have to tell you that back in, I guess it was about 10 years ago, I was teaching online, and I'm a math and science teacher by day, and I got really, really burned out, and I wanted to start thinking about myself and what are some of the things that I could do so that I wouldn't be so crazy at work and feeling like I was just, that's all my life was about. So I had always wanted to learn how to quilt, especially after my grandmother and I had talked about the quilts that she did whenever she was little or whenever she was first married. And with my great-grandmother, they got together and they made some quilts and things. And she talked to me about it. And I thought, well, that would be fun to learn how to do it. We never did do it when she was alive. She showed me how to sew for clothing. And that was, that's how I learned, and that's what I learned. But I never did quilt. And I'm thinking probably the reason is because back in the day, or even not so much now, but back in the day, that people quilted because they had to, because they needed blankets, because they were, needed things to be able to help the family stay warm during the winter. I mean, there's a lot of other reasons that they did it, but that's basically what my grandmother did. She said they really didn't have time to sit around and do quilts all day long. They just did what they needed to do, get it done, and that was, part of their whatever they needed to get done for the family. So I never did learn from her at that time. So I went on to CrossFit and found a free class, and I decided, okay, well, I don't even know the verbiage of quilting. I have no idea what the words meant. I didn't know what a fat quarter was. you know, I didn't know what stitch in the ditch was. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so there was a lot I had to learn. And because I was a teacher online and because I was helping with my grandchildren and everything at the time, I really didn't have time to go and sit in a quilting class. So I decided, well, let's learn it online. So I did. And so the blocks that I'm going to show you right now are the blocks that I learned on when I was actually, you know, doing it myself. There were 2 blocks every month that you had to do. And I mean, you could take it as long as you wanted. I think it was like 6 different sessions, and you were going to get 12 blocks, and then she was going to show you how to finish it. So you started in January and you would finish it up and have it done by Christmas. And that was my goal. Obviously it didn't work, but that was okay. I mean, I still learned a lot. I went in and I started learning how to do the different kinds of blocks. So I wanted to show you some of them. So here's one. Let me see one. Okay, so here's one. And I have to tell you that all the different patterns, and not the pattern, but the fabrics are just fabrics that I had hanging around. I didn't go out and buy anything. No, I take that back. I did buy a couple of yards of Kona because I didn't even have anything to put anything on. I just had all of these little things, and I was buying them, you know, fat quarters at the time, and I really didn't even know what fat quarters were used for. But anyway, so I had picked up all of these different things, and these are all the different things that I did. And I really had a good time learning how to do everything. But as you can see, I've got all these blocks, and I was thinking, well, what in the world can I do with it? What in the world? So these are all the different kinds of blocks so I thought, you know, I was thinking, okay, so why can't, let me think what we can do with this. So I started looking online, and I found a few ideas, and then I just really started thinking and brainstorming. I did go to ChatGPT and ask them, what would you do? What are some of the things that you did, and you know, or that you would do? And I came up with some really cool ideas. I'm going to show you what I've put together for you so that you'll have an idea of what you would like to do. But I also want to show you this other box of fat quarters, or not fat quarters, but blocks that I put together. Now, fast forward about 5 years and think of Downton Abbey. Well, I was a huge Downton Abbey fan. And when the fabric came out, I just fell in love with all those colors. You can see that I really like the mauve-y, purplish colors. And so I started buying the fabric. Well, I didn't start. I went and bought the fabric. But the problem is that whenever I would buy fabric, especially at the very beginning, I would buy half a yard. And I would think, oh, that's plenty. So I bought all the different things of the Downton Abbey fabric, but only about a half a yard. And so as I started doing my blocks, I started running out. And then I kind of set it aside, as we all do when things get in the way. And then I started looking for the Downton Abbey, fabric so I could finish it up. And then I couldn't find it, and I probably have to go on eBay or some of the other online quilt shops to see if I can find it if I do want to finish this quilt. But I came up with some other ideas. But I do want to show you that I went online, and at the time I was really following Pat Sloan, and I haven't followed her in a long time, only because I kind of stepped back from quilting and I started doing other things, so I haven't really gone online. So but it was a 1 out of 26. You were supposed to do 26 different blocks, and she came up with these, and you were supposed to make a really big, nice quilt. So I started making them, but then as I've got some things that are still, the fabric is already cut and everything, and all I have to do is put them together. The problem is like I said, I started running out, and then life got in the way again. We decided to move, and so when you decide to move, you got to stop everything and get that done. So I'm sitting here with all these blocks and trying to figure out what to do with them, and also trying to organize and that kind of thing. So let me show you what I came up with. Now, I've downloaded this, or didn't download it, I uploaded it to the description below so that you guys can get the pattern, or not the pattern, but the little booklet. And it's called the Orphan Blog Discovery Guide. And what it is, it's an organization sheet. Okay, so let me block discovery guide, and I'll put it up here so that you can actually see it. And this is from a hidden stash to finished masterpiece. I came up with this because I want to give you a systematic way of putting all of your blocks together, finding out if this is even something that you want to do, or if it's time to just say goodbye to this block. Okay, and either take it apart, put it in your stash for something else, or whatever. So part of the things that you have to do, or that I put in the discovery guide for you, is number one, the inventory master sheet. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go into all of your blocks, and you're going to look at them, and you're going to say, okay, so this example that I have written on here that you'll see is called the log cabin, and the size of it is 12.5 by 12.5. There's 4 of them. Blues and creams are the primary colors. And then what is an idea that you could do, and table runner is what I put on here. Now, as we are going through here, before I even go to the next page, I want to go back to these, and I want to look at these real quick. So 2 or 3 of the things that I've got to check off box, and you can go in and you can actually print as many of these as you want to. Now this is free, so you guys can, give it to your friends or whatever. It's a checkbox, and you can go in and copy it off as many times, as many blocks as you've got, or as many sets of blocks that you have. So I've got it set up in 4 different things, and one is called the pressing truth. Now what that means is, are all the seams pressed flat? If they're bulky, try pressing them out to reduce height in the intersections. Now, what I'm talking about is that you don't want to do this just in a whim. You want to have an organized way of how you want to do this. Get a group of your blocks and just work with that group at that time. And you want to go ahead and iron them out. You want to go ahead, and if you want to use this, I use this for all my quilts, the best press. I love this stuff, and I'll put a link below if you want to try to get it. I do have an affiliate with Amazon, and whenever I'm doing anything that I really, really like, I'm going to suggest these to you. And I got to tell you, that press and release, you've probably used it before. I have not. It's called, again, Best Press. Man, this stuff is fantastic. And what it does is it just kind of really gets your blocks how they need to be, and press them out, get all your seams pressed out. Now, I will say this, being a math teacher, I come around and I look at these things and I say, you know what? I'm wondering if the reason that some of my blocks, and they are, because I started these a while back. And I was when I was putting this together, and I was looking at some things for another thing that I want to do. If you don't do a 1/4 inch seam, if you don't block out and cut your strips and cut your blocks exactly the way they need to be, and if one little section is just a little bit bigger than the other, your blocks are not going to be exactly the way they need to be. So I was thinking, whenever I started doing this, am I messing up? Okay. Well, as I was getting these in here to show you, I have found a lot of mistakes that I put together, and like this one here. Now, you probably won't be able to see it, but whenever I was actually pressing this out so that I could show you to put on a pillow and just kind of do it like this and make a really nice pillow, I'm finding that I need to press this out, because whenever I stretch it, almost 1/4 inch is underneath where I did not press this well. So when you're pressing it and when you're putting your things on your checklist and checking them off, make sure that you are pressing them straight. Make sure that you're pressing them flat and get all the bulkiness out of it. Because if you don't, your blocks are not going to match up the way that you want them to do. This comes along with the second thing, which is called the square up. Use a rotary cutter. Now this is what I have on here. Use a rotary cutter and straight edge to ensure the block is a true square for a rectangle. A wonky block is harder to join later. All right, now I don't know where my, oh yes I do, here it is. So I use this one and I love it. This one is a 12.5 by 12.5 and I love this thing. This will help you to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. So you want to square them up. If they don't turn out to be the right size, then you want to separate them. You want to put, if they're supposed to be 12 inches, and after you've gotten it all sewn and it's supposed to be 12 and you're coming up with 11.5 or you coming up with 10 or something like that, then you need to set that aside so that you can come back and make, it's called oh, what's it called? Darn it. It's just to make a little strip to sew it on there for a border so that you can go all the way around it and make the size that you need. So if you have any leftover fabric, you can go in there and make something and still be able to have the size that you need to be able to, to hook it up to the rest of your quilts, quilt squares, quilt blocks. The next thing you want to look at is the stability test. Look at your thread. You know, these things are 10 years old. So if you've got some in there, I have gone to estate sales where I've seen the quilt blocks and they have been sewn for years and years and years. Check the stability test. Check to see if the fabric is actually good. Check to see if the thread is good, if it's breaking and that kind of thing. Because if it is, then you might want to rethink about putting this into a huge, project. You can put it into a small project if you wanted to make yourself a little picture, a little frame and hang it on the wall of one of your quilts. This is an example of what I just did. And that would work. You could, hang it in your sewing room and things like that. But if the stability test doesn't pass for you and you look at it and you say, okay, the squares look like they're falling apart or whatever, this is when you need to make that decision. You want to put any more work into it. So that's going to be a decision that you need to make. And then finally, the color harmony. Okay, that's another check box. You want to check. You want to check them off. But look at the colors. It's just like I was saying with these. I don't really know what I want to do with these. Now I've got some ideas, and I've got a list of them. I've got some ideas, but these are not my favorite fabrics. I don't know if I want to put a lot of work into this with these quilt blocks. Now, for what some of the things that I'm going to tell you that you can do with it, now that might work, but I'm not so for sure if I want to put a quilt together with these because I don't really like the colors, and it would not go with any of my color scheme. My color, like I said, whenever I was doing it, I was just looking to see what I had in my stash. All right, so the last page on here, after you've done everything, after you've got everything all organized and done and put them in these little plastic boxes. I love these things. And actually, you know what these are? If you go to Michael's, or you can get them on Amazon too, they're scrapbook boxes. And the scrapbook paper is usually 12 by 12 or 14 by 14 or whatever. That's what it fits in there, and it's perfect for quilting. I got a whole bunch of them. I mean, what do I have them? They're all down there. Every time they go on sale, I go and buy some, and it's perfect to put all your quilt blocks or your projects in, and you can separate your projects like a project bag, but it's a project box. Works great. I'll put the project. I don't know if I can't remember if I bought any on Amazon or not. We'll check and see, and if they've got any, I'll put a link down there for you. But here's some projects that you can do. Okay, the first one, the 10-minute pillow. That's this. Just go in there, put a backing on it, stick it on there, an envelope backing, and there you got a little pillow. All right, so that's 10-minute pillow. The artist gallery. Here's another one. Now I bought this. Now I do have to let you know that as I was showing it, and I'm going to give you a little video showing you exactly, what I did. It's definitely not my best work because I was doing it really quick just to show this to you. These are 10-inch squares. My block is 12 inches. And to be honest with you, you really need to have an 8-inch square for this to go on and for it to fit really well. Get the corners, blocked the way they need. But this gives an idea of what you could do. You could do several blocks and then hang them on your wall, and it could be like it could be like a quilt block or a barn quilt that you do, and you could put them all on your walls in your sewing room or in your wherever. And it looks nice. It looks really nice. And it feels, because I put a little bit of padding underneath there. I had some quilt padding left over from a project, and I just stuck it under there. And I like it because it kind of gives it the puffy feel and all, and it's really nice. But that's a good idea. All right. Now, okay, here's another one. An insulated mug rug or trivets. That would be perfect. These, you could cut these almost small enough to make 3 or 4 mug rugs if you wanted to. A quilted book or a journal cover. That would be perfect. I went online to YouTube and I found some that would really be nice to do. And you could use a couple of these and you would have it done. A zippered notion pouch. Now this one I found and I really, really want to make one. In fact, I tried to make some. I was going to make a couple for my grandchildren for their little makeup bags and stuff like that. But again, it just got so busy right there at Christmas time with finishing up work and all that. I decided that I wouldn't do it this year. But I do want to do that. And that's another idea you can do with them. Fabric greeting cards. Now, a friend of mine, she passed away not too long ago. And I have one of her greeting cards that she sent me. Hold on, I'll get it. This is so really cute. She stuck it in an envelope and sent it to me. It's really cute. It's especially because she's passed away now, and I know all of the work that she put into this. And I mean, it's not your best work because they were doing it. She's part of Quilting Guild, and they were doing it for all of. Let me see. Oh, it was whenever I joined the Quilting Guild, and they sent this to me. It was really cute. That's a good idea for these two, and you can use quilt blocks for them. So that gives you some project ideas. For your quilt blocks. But again, I guess what we need to do is what you need to do and what I need to do is make a decision of whether or not I really want to use these. I'm not so for sure about the other ones. I'll have to come up with something, and when I do, I'll maybe I'll share with you in a couple of weeks to see what I come up with. But those, it's in the back of my mind about the color harmony and about whether or not I really liked them. I was just learning. I was learning to put things together and trying to learn the stitches and trying to learn the verbiage, and that was my premise for it. And so that's where we're at. Okay, so I guess that's all I wanted to talk to you about today, but I do want to tell you that coming up, I have a series of videos that I'm going to come up with that's going to be a really surprise for you. So I'm excited to share that with you next time. But right now, go through your blocks, look to see what you have, download the discovery. I did find a little mistake in here, so I'm going to fix it before I give it to you. This is free. I'll put the link below. All you got to do is go onto my click the link. It'll take you to a part on there to fill out your email address and then download it, and it's free and it doesn't cost a thing. Okay, everybody, have a good one. Bye.